Hi everybody, Dr. Albert Snow here, Holistic Gastroenterologist. 40 years of fixing colon one at a time. This is part 2 of the GI cure, the protocol. I had, in the prior edition, I had talked about the fact that these conditions are not diseases. IBS, Colitis, and Crohn's are the same thing. And there's only one system in the world that heals this. I don't even know anybody who says they can heal it. I mean, I've been doing this for 40 years. I've never seen that. The naturopaths basically don't want to touch it. Doctors don't have an answer. I developed the term holistic gastroenterology because I had to develop a category of medicine. And of course the medical people aren't interested. And these naturopaths, these kids, basically, I'm 69 years old, so I'm calling kids, coming out of school, get the wrong model. So we talked about that in part 1. You've already heard that. The GI cure is a method I developed using natural remedies to heal inflammatory bowel conditions. And they work. I mean, there's a zillion supplements up there. I had to work through all that. When I started, there weren't nearly as many, but still, people throwing stuff at me saying, it's this one, do that one. We have a saying on my Facebook page that just do the effing program. I've got 40 years of this amazing track record, and people say, okay, thank you, 2295, and they do the appointment. I see them on Facebook tomorrow, next day, saying, oh yeah, I've had a meeting with Dr. Snow, it's fantastic. I'm also going to add vitamin C and vitamin E to the protocol. We say, let's do the effing protocol. It works. 98% success rate, and the 2% are a bunch of goofballs. You just hear, come back a year later and say, fix me. I'm not fixed. Where'd you go? So the GI cure involved taking 3 or 4 natural remedies, and what are they? Ones that put the mucosal lining back in. We talked about losing that and what happened, and we continue now. And there's no more to it. There's a tiny short-term diet, and it's not that diet. It's nothing like the FODMAP and all those different things. It's low fiber. We eat a low fiber diet temporarily. Why? Because, as I spoke about in part 1, you took an antibiotic at some point, wiped out portions of your mucosal lining, which looks like Vaseline sits on top of the wall of the GI tract, protecting it against acids. There's nothing else on the planet. Well, I mean, if you give it a chemotherapy, which is like an atom bomb of a antibiotic, there's nothing else that will touch it. You can drink all the whiskey you want, and eat a terrible diet, it will not kill us off. That's why it's become so prevalent, because they're handing out these synthetic antibiotics that will wipe out everything. It used to be I'd see somebody that had an ache in their side or had a little bit of diarrhea. Now it's all day, every day, all hell broke loose. All the symptoms. And one person, I don't know how they lived through it. Well, until they meet me, they're pretty much hopeless. But GI cure, 3 or 4 herbs, in the arsenal of what I do, I have access to thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of supplements. We only need 3 or 4, and I keep 2 on the bench. 2 of my heavy hitters. Those guys like hit 300, but I got them on the bench just in case we need them. So you never go on a diet with me. It's just no raw fruit, no raw vegetables, not seasoned corn temporarily. Or when? How long? How long do we know? It takes about a month and a half to build a nice thick mucosal line that sits on top of the GI tract protecting it. Then when it's done right, you don't need to maintain it. You just can stop taking the stuff, which always astounds people. They just have the view that, I'm going to have to take the rest of my life. I've never had anybody take anything. I mean, extreme cases, they're taking something I prescribed like a year. I had somebody planned to treat me for 3 years. And if I am, that's disgusting, because they should have been healed. And the person that did that said that is an honest and supportive person, but also they ate some foods they shouldn't have eaten after they ate them at the wrong time. Right? I usually want to give the go ahead for that, but they didn't ask me, and they're almost 100% healed. Pat was on back. GI cure, a little bit of diet, 3 or 4, maybe a 5th supplement. First thing that's going to happen, if you have outrageous diarrhea, the first 3 or 4 days is going to be bright time in the life. 2 moments a day, perhaps. we have to put the mucosal lining back in, which nobody knows how to do that. There's a missing element that I'm excited about right now. And then we're going to talk about the next audio about fixing the holes you have in your gut. Okay, you had antibiotics. Just to recap just very briefly, you took away some mucosal lining, leaving the tissue exposed to your own stomach acid. It's not an immune disease. The immune system is not attacking. We're not going to spend much time on that. We're going to spend some time on what's true. You put the mucosal lining back in. How do you do that? Stuff that you're already taking, some of it, probiotics, but you have to have the right kind. And frankly, I got bored as hell with the world of probiotics because they all seem the same. And the reason is that the ones you get at a store, they're not designed to do anything special. They have general strains of bacteria, and they're designed to be sold, basically. They're more like maintenance products, not corrective. You need to take a probiotic that has the strains of bacteria that are indigenous to that part of the body. And there are changes, there are differences. You see the same thing on the label, lactobacillus, they're not the same. Depends on who bred them, and they created the strains in the medieval laboratories. That's how long some of these companies have been developing these products. But you'll be diarrhea-free or close to it in 3 or 4 days. You see a significant improvement first day. So we put the mucosal lining back in. We talked about that some. I'm going to go into more detail now. You have to have the strains of good bacteria, and here's the missing element. Nobody knows this. I know you think you're smart. You've done all your research, and I know you are smart. Okay, and we always get when the doctor's the best. Well, are you healed yet? We'll decide who's the best in 90 days. Okay. So we have to take with something called colostrum. The missing element, big neon sign, colostrum. Colostrum is a natural sticky stuff. The probiotic needs something to stick to. So far, all the probiotics that you've taken end up in the toilet. Because you need to have this stuff like a thin layer of Vaseline, mucosal lining there, so when the capsule of the probiotic opens up, it's right there in the colostrum sticking to the stomach of the bowel wall. The probiotics stick to that. And it starts to grow. If you were looking in there with a microscope, you'd say, wow, this guy's going to take a break. It's like an anthill. You've seen all that. You're falling with it can be a mass of them. Well, in this case, we have nutrients that will rebuild the mucosal lining and do it properly and permanently. And without that, don't even bother. Don't even bother, because that will you'll be, as I'm going to talk about the next audio, we're going to build the flesh, the skin, fat, and muscle. And if you don't protect it with the mucosal lining, which is how you got in the predicament in the first place, you build a layer of skin, then you have breakfast, the acid from that breakfast will eat the layer of skin you just built. You'll be spinning your wheels. And it's not about all the lot because I'm just going to fast. Well, I guess it's going to give you some temporary relief. You don't take anything and you're not going to release the acid. That's not practical. That's not the way to do it. So we build the mucosal lining and we do it nice, do it right, just to be about an inch and a half thick, and nothing can touch it but antibiotics. And we don't have to live in fear of them, because we now know if you take an antibiotic for a week, after that week you fill yourself full of the right kind of probiotics, you will have not missed a beat. When I started, it was a problem until I figured it out. But you won't miss a beat. When you're doing my protocol, you're stuffing all the things in there, and the antibiotics are going to bounce off that too. They can and will kill off some of the good bacteria you're taking. We put it right back in. We want the benefits of those antibiotics. Hallelujah, give me all of them when I need them. But they're a total pest when people take them in the middle of treatment. Now, go, why did you take that? Well, the doctor thought it was a good idea. What kind of symptoms would provoke that? Well, not really. I told the doctor I was doing good. Oh, good. We just threw a bomb, monkey wrench into my work. And again, we're lucky I figured out we can put the good stuff back in. But colostrum. Without that, the probiotic ends up in the toilet. My guess, I think it is because there are a billion people in the world taking probiotics, and they don't know about colostrum. So they're going to be stuck with annual surgeries on their colons. If you go You got another thing I want to tell you, I'm going to do another audio on this, called I'm Glad You're Still Suffering. Imagine that. And I'm going to do one on I Love Diarrhea. That's the same thing. I'm making myself a note to remember. So what happens is that we replace the mucosal lining. What's that going to do for us? It's going to protect the inline tissue. When you had your I'm going to make him finish my note, please. I love diarrhea. You'll see why I say it. And I also say something like hail, hail, Twinkies. We're big Twinkie fans there as an analogy. Let's see. Okay. What happens is that the acid's eating holes in your bowel wall, which is ultimately causing all the symptoms. We're going to talk about what causes diarrhea, what that actually is. The probiotic, we got to put it back in with colostrum, and it sticks. All the people around the world, when they flush the toilet, there goes their probiotic. I haven't heard of a toilet having IBS yet, and I think it's because they're getting smeared with all the colostrum and probiotic from your butt. And you're saying, oh, this stuff's not working for me. The heck with this natural stuff. Let's go get the drug. Can't wait to talk about that, about I'm glad you're still suffering. And I love diarrhea. So if those are the first two sentences I say to you, you're going to just hang up, walk away. But if you stick around for a minute, you realize that it's really brilliant. I don't mind saying that. Mucosal line is going to protect it when it's done right. It's going to be 1.5 inches thick. It's going to stay there and be there the rest of your life, unless what? Antibiotic. But guess what? We figured it out. Whenever we take an antibiotic, we follow up with a probiotic in colostrum. Always get the colostrum there, and you won't have the pitfall going down when you take an antibiotic. You always remember the GI Cure. You're going to see stuff on there like the protocol, that www course, Holistic Gastroenterology. You're going to see the genesis of where this stuff came from, and how we're going to fix it. And there's nobody else in the world that fixes it. GI Cure has it all in there, and it's better than me because I'm just a one-time guy. In one time, I mean, I talk to you over the course of your treatment, but after the first appointment, which is 15-20 minutes, and when I analyze and then diagnose. After that, it's a series of emails, and I love you, you love me, but we don't talk that much because we're just treating your gastrointestinal problem, and all you gotta do is check in once in a while and say, hey, I had diarrhea 3 days in a row, or whatever. And so the problem we have with the probiotics is people don't realize what they need. So they're taking by name the thing they need. The GI Cure has all that in there. It tells you which probiotic to get. I don't affiliate with any companies, but I'll tell you the ones that I want you to take. They're unique in that there's only a couple of companies that know the type of probiotic we need. There's a lot to that. I can't wait to talk about that either. We build the mucosal lining. Why are we doing that in the first place? Because it allows, right now, the acid has access to your tissue, okay? And then I'm going to give you, in this quick hitter, I'm going to give you something from the next show. Why do we have diarrhea? Why do we have diarrhea? It's because when the body gets hit with the antibiotic and then the holes are dug over the course of months, acid hits a nerve and the body says, ouch, we don't like that, and it responds by flooding the bowel with water for the purpose of washing all the acid away, because if it sits in the bowel, it eats. So that's just, this is part of the quick hitter that I'll be doing soon. I just want to finish up any thoughts I have on the mucosal lining. You have to have the right strain. That's what we use in the GI Cure. We use the best. I don't imagine anyone's going to say they don't use the best, but we really do. And I don't have any affiliation with these people other than I recommend their supplements because they're fantastic. Plus, I need to know what I'm dealing with. If I give you something to take and I'm not familiar with that, I don't know what reaction we should get. So it's all in the GI Cure, that website, gicure.com, which is where you make an appointment with me. but Holistic Gastroenterologist has the GI Cure in there and a knowledge base. Everything I know, which is a lot about this subject, is going to be in there. We're working on getting it all filled in. We're trying to get it audio, as a matter of fact, so you can listen to it. Knowledge base is going to be like a vast library of everything you would want to know. Right now, it's the GI Cure protocol is in there, ready to go and use. You can start treatment right now. You don't need me because I took everything I know and put in that. You get way more of me and the good stuff there than you do in the clinic with me. I don't mind doing the clinic at all all the time. So that's it for now. Mucosal lining destroyed by antibiotics. What's the problem? Gives exposure for the acid to eat away holes, goes down, hits the nerve, and we're off to the races. So the next quick hitter I'm going to do is on what's happening with that GI tract skin pattern muscle. You know, you got walls of tissue in there. It's, you know, the mucous membrane. The membrane is a pocket, a ball, skin pattern muscle. This is going to ring true. I'm going to do this soon, so it's one of my favorite topics because it's giving you the meat of what I know. And what I know is enough to heal this. So I'm going to go now, and I'll probably record the next in the series of 3, and then I have a couple other subjects to do. Typically shorter than this, but this is an introduction. So I'm going to go now. I'll be back with this whole story about the bowel wall. You're going to love it. So this is it for now. Please tune in. Look at the YouTube channel. See when we add material. And when you are a member of the GI Cure, you get notifications when I've done or said anything. You might be bored with it and shut it off, but you'll have that access. So I'm going to go. I'll pick up next with the